As you all know, I just returned from the Middle East and from Paris, where I had a series of discussions aimed at de-escalating the conflict, ending the rocket and tunnel attacks against Israeli civilians, and easing the suffering of innocent people everywhere in Gaza, in Israel, in the West Bank. Today, we are continuing to work toward establishing an unconditional humanitarian ceasefire, one that could honor Eid, which begins now, and that will stop the fighting, allow desperately needed food and medicine and other supplies into Gaza, and enable Israel to address the threat which we fully understand and which is real, the threat posed by tunnel attacks, and to be able to do so without having to resort to combat. That is what could come from a ceasefire. We believe the momentum generated by a humanitarian ceasefire is the best way to be able to begin to negotiate and find out if you can put in place a sustainable ceasefire, one that addresses all of the concerns, the long-term concerns as well. Begin to talk about the underlying causes of the conflict in Gaza, though those obviously will not all be resolved in the context of a ceasefire, a sustainable ceasefire discussion. But it is important to try to build, to begin, and to move in a process. And that's what we're trying to achieve. That is the only way, ultimately, this conflict is going to be resolved. Hopefully, if we can make some progress, the people in this region who deserve peace can take one step towards that elusive goal by stopping the violence which catches innocents on all sides in the crossfire, and begin to try to build a sustainable way forward. We also believe that any process to resolve the crisis in Gaza in a lasting and meaningful way must lead to the disarmament of Hamas and all terrorist groups. And we will work closely with Israel and regional partners and the international community in support of this goal. So we continue to have these discussions. Our discussions over there succeeded in putting a 12-hour humanitarian ceasefire in place. And then, as the rollover time for that occurred, regrettably, there were misunderstandings about 12 hours versus 24, 4 hours versus 24. And so we're trying to work hard to see if these issues can be clarified in a way that allow Israel, the Palestinian Authority, the Palestinian factions, the other countries involved, working through the Egyptian initiative to be able to find a way to silence the weapons long enough to be able to begin to negotiate.